money makers, and welcome to my channel. I'm Jen and it's here where I talk about all things relating to money, from poverty all the way up to my goal, which is financial independence and retiring early. So, the definition of poverty, now I'm not talking about absolute poverty here, which is where people in third world countries are struggling to have their basic needs met. But when I talk about poverty in the means of the UK, I'm talking about an earning less than a certain threshold. The minimum cost of living for a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children, is £19,812. I'm just referring to my laptop down here for the actual information, and that was given in 2019. I was only earning £18,960, so a little bit less than what is deemed as poverty. So when I had my second child in 2013, I'd already been the only wage earner in the household from 2011, so I had 2 full years to learn how to adapt, how to manage my bills. When I actually became, strictly speaking, in poverty, I already knew how to handle things, and things didn't quite seem just so bad at that point. When I checked my tax records, the lowest earnings for me were in 2014 to 2015, and yep, that was the most depressed time. So how did I feel? Pretty rubbish, actually. Life was hard. It was all routine all the time, just every day the same, every weekend the same, month in and month out. I feel like I was getting anywhere. I had goals and dreams of my own that I couldn't fulfill, and I was getting more and more frustrated. In 2014, I actually discovered tiny houses, and this whole concept of tiny house living was new to me, and I was completely blown away. These people were purposely downsizing and living financially free lives. I was completely and utterly inspired. In 2015, I gave a sum of money to the minimalists that were doing a project to help orphans in Laos, and this gave me a bit more of a fulfilment. I felt valued, that I could actually support something beyond myself at the time. Unfortunately, in 2016 I hit a rock bottom year, and I think I was verging on depression. I had plenty of goals that I wanted to achieve. Obviously, from making this channel, I want to achieve financial independence. At this point I was so far away from it, and every month and every year that passed I wasn't getting any closer. So I really hit a low point at this time. I made a list of every expenses and where it was coming from, what time of the month it was coming from, and really try to pull back those expenses as much as I can. In 2016, I took notice of my student loan. Every month I was getting my wage and I'd open it up and I'd see student loan. It'd be minus £100, maybe a little bit more. I didn't even have the login details for my student account. So I made sure I got those and had a look, and I could actually pay it off in 2 months' time. I just had the money sitting there in a savings account, and the way I looked at it, I was spending £100 a month on this debt. My savings weren't making me £100 a month by keeping the debt, so I just paid it off. I felt like I was always breaking even. I was very good at making sure that I didn't go into debt, but at the same time I wasn't seeing any gains that I really wanted to make. So I sat down, I made a list of every expenses and where it was coming from, what time of the month it was coming from, and really tried to pull back those expenses as much as I can to gain larger margins in places that I could save money. I thought my biggest problem was that for a family of 4, we were living in a small house, a small terraced house, and I couldn't afford my dream house, which probably was some kind of detached 3-bedroom house with a little garden at the front and a driveway and garage and a garden at the back, nobody overlooking us, nice quiet neighbourhood. That was my dream house, and because I didn't have that, I thought that that was my biggest problem. I really believed I was worth less just because I didn't have this house of my dreams. But in 2017, I finally asked my husband to take up some of the flags outside the front of our house and give me a garden. And this was incredible. All I needed was somewhere to plant, and my whole perspective of the house shifted. Gardening gave me an outlet. It was a place where I could go when life was hectic, when work was hectic. I'd just go out into this sunny spot out the front of my house and grow things, be surrounded by butterflies and nature, and it just filled me with so much joy. As time went on, I'd realised I'd stopped focusing on how miserable I was and I'd started to create something new. Every plant that grew I felt was a success. People used to walk by the house and stop and talk to me about how wonderful my garden was, that they looked so healthy, and it's amazing what I've done with such a small space. I'd always wanted more for myself, but it started to get to a point where I actually thought that that could happen. So I left my job and I became freelance. Although I did earn considerably more money, there was more travelling involved, there was instability with the job, but my confidence soared as a result of me taking control of the situation and wanting to do something better. I started to ask myself questions about the bigger picture. What did I want out of life? This all I wanted every single month was to earn money and spend it. So the 5 things that I have learned about being skint are: number 1, analyse your finances and treat yourself like a business. If you don't know what you've got coming in and going out each month, chances are it is just down to chance. You're not going to know. It's going to be like a risk every single month if you can actually balance things. If you're going to go overdrawn and then you're going to get charged for the overdrawn, you need to at least be breaking even every single month. Set expectations. If you're in a family and your decisions affect other people, please make sure that they're on board first. I know from first-hand experience what it's like to have a parent just cut all expenses down to absolute minimum and just leave you in the dark, and it's awful. If I knew at the time, I would have been a lot more supportive. 3, get crystal clear about what you want out of your life. What do you want? What did you want when you were a child? The simplest things. Try and make those things happen for yourself. Surround yourself with better influences. Find yourself people that you can follow their path and get to where they are, because if they've been successful, then you can do it too. Just research them, find out everything about them as much as you can. What habits do they have? What do they do on a regular basis? How did they get successful? And you can follow it too. And my 5th one is to find an outlet. If all you're thinking about is your problem all the time, you're never going to get anywhere with it. It's going to be like just a tunnel vision of problems constantly all the time. Find something to do that's creative and be an outlet for yourself. Express yourself in a different way, and it just might be the best thing that you ever did. There's more to life than earning money and spending it, and having an outlet will let you be creative in a different way. So there you go. Feel free to comment down below if you think this video was helpful, and like and subscribe, set notifications to never miss a video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!